Damon John Moulter, and I was born on August 29, 1996. In the summer of 2001, my father, Eric Moulter, came to the mainland from Hawaii and took my brothers and me to visit my grandma Julie Ayler at her home in Monterey County, California. Her house has a lower level with a living room and bedroom. My brothers Evan and Ryan slept on the two couches in the living room, and I slept with my father in the bed in the bedroom. My father sexually abused me there, just like he did hundreds of times after that. He put me on my stomach and laid on top of me. It hurt a lot, and his body was so heavy I was afraid it would break my back. I was only 5 years old then, so I was too young to understand what he was doing, but I remember being terrified. In February of 2003, my older brother Ryan told my mother, Cindy Dumas, that my father had come into the room in the middle of the night and was doing something weird to me in my top bunk. That's when I told them about the abuse, even though my father told me not to tell anyone since it was supposed to be our secret. After I told CPS, the detective, and the person at the Chadwick Center about the incident in my top bunk, I was on supervised visits with my father for a few months. During that time, I told my mom that the abuse happened every time I visited him. She reported that to the court, but the judge made me go back to my father unsupervised anyway. That's when he started threatening to kill me, my brothers, my mom, and my hamster if I ever told anyone again. The judge gave more visitation to my father, and the abuse got worse and worse. I was too scared to tell anyone about it because I was afraid my father really would kill me. I'm still afraid he will kill me because I am telling about it now. My father would mostly abuse me in his bed since he made me sleep with him. After my brothers told that we were still sleeping together, he started waiting until after they went to sleep. Then he would come and take me out of my bed and drag me up the stairs to his bedroom, where he would abuse me on and off through the night. He would bring me back to my bed before my brothers woke, so they wouldn't know he was still making me sleep with him. He would also abuse me in other rooms, like the bathroom, the closet, and the living room. He also did it in the shower with me standing up against the wall, like Sandusky did to his victims. He would also abuse me during the day on his lap while playing video games, and lots of other places too. Sometimes he would come up behind me while I was standing up, like the time I was playing wall-ball. One time he dragged me naked into the canyon behind his house to our fort, where he made me lay in the dirt and sticks while he sexually abused me. Once he duct taped me to his bed and duct taped my mouth shut. Sometimes he would lock me outside all night in the backyard without a blanket to punish me if I tried to avoid the abuse. One time he tossed a sack with me in it into his pool, where I almost drowned. That really scared me. My father threatened to kill me every time I was on my way back to my mom's house, if I ever told anyone what he was doing to me. The San Diego police, DA, and family court have refused to do a real investigation and have not protected me. The detective said that she had more important cases, so she did not get any physical evidence. And then she said there was not enough evidence to charge my father. When we were in hiding, after my mom left San Diego to protect me, the DA and judge promised us if we came back to San Diego, I would be listened to and protected. That didn't happen. The DA said the evidence from before we left was strong enough to drop the charges against my mom, but didn't interview me or anybody else to get any new evidence. I wasn't afraid anymore and could have told them a lot more about the abuse. But they didn't want to listen to me. Then they again said there was not enough evidence to charge my father. There's a videotape of me when I was 11 where I told the interviewer a lot about the sexual abuse, but the judge didn't allow anyone to see it. I told her about the abuse in her chambers, but she wouldn't let anyone see that either. And nobody would do the sexual investigation that is mandatory under Family Code 3118 either. So sexual assaults have never been investigated thoroughly in almost 10 years of me reporting them, and important evidence has been concealed. I ran away from my father's house in July 2011, a year after family court gave full custody to him, and 3.5 years after I had been taken away from my mom. I was living with friends of my father's until then, and I was on supervised visitation with my mother. Until I ran away, I was trying not to ever be alone with him, but my father and stepmother were pressuring me to let that happen. I ran away because I don't feel safe with him. I am also afraid my father will send me to a camp or boarding school to get me to say that the abuse never happened. He hired someone to send me away for deprogramming and filed papers with the court, but the judge appointed Dr. Barrett instead. Dr. Barrett, along with my father, tried to convince me the abuse didn't really happen. That didn't work, so the judge said I was psychologically impaired because I still believed I was abused. She suggested sending me out of state to a boarding school to cure me. I've read on the internet about how cruel these places are and how the techniques they use can't even be used in prisoner of war camps. I saw a news video about a boy being electroshocked at the Judge Rottenberg Center. I know about kids who have had that happen to them when they wouldn't say the abuse didn't happen. As long as my father has custody, he can send me to one of those places. I won't take a chance of that happening. I am refusing to come out of hiding until I'm not under my father's control and I can live with my mother where I'm safe. I ran away a year ago and have my own attorney now, but last month the new judge refused to hear anything about my abuse and gave full custody to my father again, so I've had to stay in hiding. After watching the Sandusky trial and hearing people encouraging victims to come forward, I decided to report this. An article came out that used my case as an example of how cases should be investigated better and kids should be believed. It's called In the Wake of Sandusky by Barry Nolan at the Boston Daily. I deserve to be believed because I am telling the truth. I want a complete investigation of the sexual assaults and my father charged in Monterey County, where the abuse first occurred, because I don't trust the people in San Diego anymore. I also want a restraining order against my father. I have written this evidentiary abuse affidavit in order to get an investigation started in Monterey County. This affidavit is also to provide admissible evidence for use in any court proceeding for the purpose of getting me released from a camp or boarding school, or if I am killed. I, Damon John Moulter, have signed this evidentiary abuse affidavit consisting of 4 pages, and for the purpose of identification, my initials have been placed at the foot of each page. I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of California that the foregoing is true and correct.